Great. Thanks for this opportunity. Uh, it's uh, it's been a whirlwind over these past 8 years, and I've enjoyed every moment and just really learned a lot. Not only about the what happens here in Raytown, but how the process kind of works. How the process kind of work. And before that, I wasn't really deeply involved, even though I spent 6 years on the school board. I just got caught up in what went on with the school board. But when I went to the state, it's more an overview of the whole state and how everything works. And so, yeah, it was an eye opener for me. Over the years, I've learned a lot, and then by the time I really figured a little of it out a little, they said, "Well, you're done. Get out of here." And so they kick you out. So, so there are several bills to say that you can spend more time in the House and more time in the Senate for a total of 16 years instead of you can only spend 8 in the House and 8 in the Senate. And because as a senator, you cover at least 4 state reps. And so with covering 4 more state reps, that means one of those state reps can run for that Senate seat, and the other 3 would just have to go home and find something else to do. And then I think there's a lot of knowledge being lost, and the process starts all over again. So in this election that's coming up now, we're going to elect, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 to 60 new state reps between the D's and the R. And they will have a learning curve that they had to meet. And the new people, that's the ones that's down there, probably will try their best to take advantage of them for the first year or so until they catch on. That's just the way the system works. And but no, I've only had one flat the whole time that I was going down there with my car. Some people have burned up a couple of engines from this side of the state going down there. And I've only just had one flat. And that one flat maybe had to stay overnight, though, because it happened late in the day. And other than that, like I said, I've learned, and the whole process was, the worst thing about it is that drive. I would drive to Jeff City either on a Sunday night or a Monday morning, and then I drive back home on a Thursday evening or a Friday morning. And I rotated that for 4 months and a half, because it's only from January through the middle of May that you have to be down there. And the drive is like a 2 hour and 15-minute drive, and you just can't get around it. I was lucky. I never got a ticket the whole time. Even, even though I did have state plates on my car. Yeah, I do have state plates in the highway patrol. We get to mingle with them a lot, and they say, "Hey, if you ain't going 10 miles over the speed limit, we won't mess with you." And so I stayed within that. I stayed within that parameter going down there, and so that was really cool. And my home stayed intact while I was down there, you might say. As a lot of people, between the time they down there and the time they here, they either got separated, divorced, a lot of stuff. When it just, everything happens over periods of time, and so it's wear and tear on your family. It does when you stand down there and the other side is on this side of the world. But sure. We made it through, had a great time. And this past session, I think every year I was down there, we set like a record. When I first went down there, the governor, he had to resign. And then after that, that was one thing after another. We had a pandemic hit us. We made it through that. We had to come in with masks. The vote, we all came to the chamber one at a time to vote. So it went through a lot. In this past session, we only passed 46 bills and total of 28 non-appropriation bills, and that set a record. We passed 31 bills in the pandemic era, which was the lowest that we had. And then this past year, we only passed 28, which is lower, which is the lowest. And out of that 46, 18 of those were the appropriation bills, which we had to pass every year, and that's what our job is. And 11 of those came out of the House, and 17 of them came out of the Senate. We did get the budget done, and the budget is really what we are mandated by the Constitution to try to get done. And the way that process works is all the departments send their requests to the governor. The governor formulate his wants and needs and send it to the House. The House get that and formulate what the House thinks should be done. And now it's the government proposal and then the House side of it, what they want. Then once we go through our stuff, we send it over to the Senate, starts all over again. The Senate put up what they think should happen. The House got what they think should happen, and the governor got what he thinks should happen from what his people have said. And in between all of that, they're supposed to get together and compromise to come to a resolution. And if they don't come to a compromise, we have what you call, you go to a conference call. You go to conference. That's about maybe 40 or 50 people on that conference committee. And then they kind of work it out, hash it out in there. When they get through hashing it out, they send it back to the House. We rubber stamp it, send it back to the Senate. They rubber stamp it, and then it goes to the governor. That did not happen this time. This time, there was about 40-something hours debate. 40-something hour filibuster in the Senate on the mega side. And I think the Democrats, they filibuster somewhere in the neighborhood of 51 hours. So that's about 90-something hours of filibustering. So it took a lot of time up where they couldn't go to conference. So actually, this budget really boils down to the chair in the House and the chair in the Senate decided what would go in this budget and what wouldn't go in this budget. But we passed it. And the governor, I heard him say just the other day that that's going to be a rude awakening. So he's planning on using his veto power to veto line items in that budget. I do expect the budget to come out even as early as today and as late as probably the 28th or the 29th of this month. The governor has until July the 14th. However, the budget takes effect July 1. And so he will do that before July 1. And the governor just got the bills on May the 30th because we signed out on the 17th. That means we ended session on the 17th. We didn't really end session on the 17th, but we signed out on the 17th. And they went back on the 30th and signed all the bills that was passed and sent them over to the governor. And then the governor has to July the 14 to sign them. If he doesn't sign them, they automatically become law, or he could veto them. So that's where we at with the budget. The budget is like 51.7 billion. There was a lot of I like to call pork in there, and there was a lot of stuff that that was cut that I believe that we needed some stuff for, like Medicaid, different services that should have been increased got cut. And I can tell you some of them were, some of the stuff that really got cut was, let's see right here. Look like somebody's coming in. Some of the stuff that really got cut out of the budget was, for example, they cut Medicaid managed care by 124 million. They cut Medicaid management care by 124 million, cut home and community-based services by 27 million, cut division of senior and disability service by 32 million. Those are some of the things that they cut. And here's some of the things that they decided they want to improve a bill. They got 13.3 million to McDonald County Park to build a new park there. They got 1 million to Washington County Airport to upgrade that. They got 6.2 million to Branson Community Improvement District. So that was some of those rural areas that got that money. But the governor did say he planned on vetoing some of this stuff. I don't know what he will or won't. We was lucky enough to try to get some money in there for the paramedics here in Raytown. And we was also lucky enough to try to get some money in there for a little taste of traffic control, traffic control signs. And hopefully the government will leave those two things alone because we don't get that much of our tax dollars back in Raytown. So some of that will be coming to Raytown if we can get it. And Barbara Washington is our senator. And we've been talking about trying to get more of our tax dollars back here to Raytown to help us do some basic stuff, you know, that to improve some of our services for our senior citizens. That's the budget. And then there was some other bills that I think maybe will touch bases with Raytown. One of them would be that Senate Bill 727, where it talks about the voucher bill and charter schools. I think that's really going to play a role with Raytown because what that does is you could an individual could take a voucher and go to another school, leave Raytown schools. I think we should be trying to get young families to come to Raytown. And I mean, it could work other ways. I mean, people out of Lee Summit could come to Raytown if they wanted to. People out of Kansas City come to Raytown if they want to. People out of Grandview could come to Raytown if they want to. But it appears that our kids have been, the enrollment has been fluctuating up and down, up and down. I know when I was on the school board, we would, you know, maybe lose 2,000 kids this year, and next year we'll gain 2,000 kids. So it's up and down, up and up and up and up. And I think with this 727, they raised teacher pay to the minimum salary would be $40,000. Teachers with different types of degrees, master degree, theirs would be $48,000. There's some good stuff in this bill. And if you wanted to go to a four-day school week, you would have to send it to the voters. Like independents, they went to a 4-day school week. They're going to have to put that on the ballot now to make sure that the citizens want that. It's not just going to stay a 4-day school week over there in independent unless the citizens want it. And there's some type of incentive if you go to if you stay at a 5-day school week. I think it's like 30 million or something that the school or the district get that for going to staying at a 5-day school week. Another bill that's probably close that I would say that's a little close to the people would be the public safety bill. That was a public safety bill that got passed. Trying to see what number that was. Anyway, in this public safety bill, it has the Blair's Law, where if you're shooting a firearm up in the air, it becomes a felon. Also, it's called the Max Law, where if you harm a police dog, you can have a felon. It also talks about the Valentine Law. If you fleeing the police in a reckless way, you can be charged with a felon. So I thought there was a lot of good stuff in that and some bad stuff in that. Stuff I like and stuff in that bill I don't like. Also in that bill, it talks about the juvenile court. And then in one other bill, it talks about senior citizens, modified the criteria for senior citizens to qualify for real estate property tax credit. And I know Jackson County has got ahead of that. they now you can go in if you're a senior citizen, I think over 62 or 65, you can freeze your property taxes at what it is now. We passed that bill a couple of years ago, but it was a lot of confusion to it, and so now it has come to the point where we tried to revise it, and it came back and it says seniors must be at least 62 years of age to get that tax credit. So that's some of the things that then went on. And not only do I put out a newsletter, but if you stay in Raytown last week, I believe, or this week, you should have got an end of session report. That end of session report would tell you what went on during this past session. It sort of looked like something like this. Let's see. Yeah, sort of looked like that. Everybody in Raytown pretty much should have got one. That's my last budget spent for this fiscal year. And I got one more thing I'm going to send out to all the people in Raytown is my goodbye letter and thank you letter. That won't come out until probably late November, early December, because I'm still on the rolls until December the 31st. And after December the 31st, well, the election in August will determine who will represent the Democrats, who will represent the Republicans. And then in November, the Democrat or the Republican will win that seat, and they'll be sworn in the first Wednesday after the first Monday in January. And then I'll be through with it, and I'll be done. So that's where I'm at. Feel free to ask me any questions, and I'll try to answer them.
Jerome, are you expecting a veto session?
Oh, well, not only are we expecting a veto session, we're expecting a special session. I'm glad you reminded me of that. Yeah, the veto session is always the second week in September. We do have veto session. Over the years, since I've been there, we have overridden the governors on several line item vetoes, but traditional, we don't override the governor because the governor is a Republican, the House is Republican, and the Senate is Republican. So they normally don't override the governor. But we did do some line item vetoes. We overrid him in some line item vetoes. Now, this one could be a unique year because the governor has already threatened that he really doesn't like what happened with the budget. He don't like it. And so he could be cutting a lot of stuff. At least that's what he's threatening to do. And also that's Bill 727. The Department of Education saying they're not going to have enough money to implement that bill or to work with that. And we may have to go back and have a supplement budget to make sure that works. And so we expect the special session to come along with the veto session. Normal special session is scheduled for 60 days. However, we normally get it done within a week or so, just like the Kansas side had their special session. The committees and stuff work before the special session even start. And so when the special session comes, all we do is come in and vote up or down, and then we're done. Well, we come in and we debate it first, and then we vote up or down. And so I do expect that to happen. And then you got the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas is trying to lure them over across the state line. I do not expect us to address any of that this year at all. I do expect them to address it first of next year. I don't see no reason for us to address it at all this year. That's just my thinking. I don't see no reason for us to address it at all this year. I do expect Jackson County, they're going to be trying to do something. And I think whatever they do, then next year we could piggyback on top of what they did and make the pot sweet as possible. But I think the people in Jackson County has spoken once, and I think you make them mad when you keep coming at them like that, saying do this and do that. You make them mad, and so I think Jackson County right now is going through some difficult difficult times, you might say, because of that property tax thing. And so people pretty much, hopefully, they don't get too mad and we lose the Chiefs and the Royals. My personal opinion is that we're going to lose the Royals. That's my personal opinion. I do think the Royals is going to be gone. I don't know where they're going, but I do think we're going to leave. They're going to leave. But I do think the Chiefs will stay in this metro, if not in Kansas City, not in Jackson County. But the rumor is that's what's going to happen. So
here we go. I saw on the Star bonds, they only have 1 year that's been approved from the Kansas side, so I'm sure they will be taking up something on that.
Well, the Star bond, they can ask for an extension for a year. I know it's only till 2025 that they need to make a decision, but they can extend it for a year, from what I've been told.
Sure.
So actually, they got to 2026.
Sure. All right.
I'd just like to thank Jerome for keeping us up to date on that newsletter. That was very good to get that periodically to kind of see what's going on. And the Star bond issue in Kansas, that's going to be an interesting deal. You know, people say that stadiums really don't justify spending the income. They've had a default on some of their Star bonds, so that's going to make people reluctant to buy those Star bonds. And that they're going to have to prove they can generate enough income to support that in order to get investors involved to buy those. And Kansas, if they go down this road again in a default, they're borrowing on even though they're not legally liable for those bonds, if they don't support those, their overall cost of borrowing money is going to go up.
Yeah.
So it's not a slam dunk, I guess is what I'm saying. Star bonds.
Right. Only thing I hate about Missouri is we are slow motion. I mean, we are slow motion. My people have asked me, say, hey, why don't we have gambling in Missouri? I mean, it's overwhelming. They want it. And we refuse to do it every year. It gets over to the Senate and it just dies. People want to have a food tax cut here, but in the state of Missouri, nope, they don't want to do it. And I know that I've had some concerns that we should not pass that due to our situation here in Raytown, and that's we probably could carve out certain cities where it's really is needed, and where but overall as a whole, and those bills didn't go anywhere. They did get a little traction at first, but then they didn't go anywhere. But no, I just think we are on board with keeping the Chiefs at home. I think the Royals are going to be probably going away. And like you said, Kansas, they do things kind of weird over there. And I'm not saying that they're going to pull the Chiefs over, because those guys are business folks, and they really know what's going on. So,
I was going to ask Representative, I know another school district got their district carved out from dealing with the charter schools. Were you able to do that the same for Raytown?
No, could not get Raytown carved out. As a matter of fact, they said they regretted doing that from the first go round, but no, couldn't get it carved out. Couldn't. And I was in touch with the superintendent a lot on that, and she was letting me know this was something that they wasn't a fan of. And that's, we stood up, we voted. I mean, we couldn't filibuster it, and we got little things put in there that would try to help us out, but wasn't able to get it carved out.
I noticed you worked hard down, and I've been keeping up with everything that you were doing, and I just want to say thank you for your service.
And Bonnie, that comment is appreciated. I want you to know that you came to me about 3 or 4 years ago and said, Jerome, the people are stealing packages off the porch. people are stealing packages off the porch. I want you to know that's a law now. They get, if they steal off the porch, they're gonna be in a deep trouble. It's
Oh, I kept up with that, but they didn't mess with my packages, thank God. Okay.
yeah. So I got that passed across the finish line. Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. We look forward to seeing, I hope our school district does well. I hope people come into our school district. We'll see how that goes. That's going to be a very scary. Very scary. I assume you won't know until people sign their kids up for the school, who's going to do it. And I think that would make making budgets extremely hard to do. Well, we've had things hard before.
Jerome, thank you for all that you've done, and especially for the newsletters. It helps to keep us updated on what's going on.
Thank
I
you.
don't like that they made so many cuts to senior services, but that's my own personal pet peeve. I think that when we're dealing with our seniors, they've already done their due diligence, and when we start cutting from them, I just don't think that's fair. But that's my own personal thing.
Great. I got my fingers crossed that the governor's going to take care of us.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. Thanks.
I see up here we have Emmanuel's Cleaver's office. Toilet, do you have anything for us today?
Overall, nothing has been too crazy in our office. We recently, just yesterday, we had the announcement that there will be a new passport agency that will be opening up soon here in Kansas City. We were one of the cities selected for that, so that is something that we're really proud of. I don't know if this affected anybody here last year, but I actually work in our office working with a lot of the Department of State issues. So I do a lot of the passports. Last year, it was slammed. We were getting passport applications left and right. It was one of our like record-breaking years just across the country and definitely in our office. And so we had a lot of people, complaining. And when it came to very emergencies, they would either have to drive to either Arkansas or Chicago because those were like the closest passport acceptance facilities here in the country to Kansas City. So since last year when we were going through this, we advocated for them to select Kansas City as one of the next cities that should have a passport agency just because we're in the middle, we're the Midwest, and there's just nothing that close to here. And so we're very happy to know that we are selected, and that's something to look forward to. Overall, I would also say if anybody wants to travel, anybody has any travel plans, this is the time to renew your passport. Travel times are passport acceptance and processing time is very slow right now, so I highly recommend it if you weren't able to do that last year. On the other issue, since I also do work a lot with the Postal Service, that's something that we're still always monitoring in our office just because that's been a big thing with a lot of delays and everything. So the Congressman continues to advocate on that. I will say that some of the few changes that I've recently seen with the Postal Service is that whenever we submit an inquiry, they have been really fast in trying to investigate that and give us the findings of their investigation. So the way they're resolving it, they're really keeping us updated and being more communicative, which I know sounds very minimal, but that is something that we're having big issues with the Postal Service, not this lack of transparency and communication. So that has been different in recent times. I would say those are like the main big updates that we've had in our office and just with policy.
Shannon Moss, how's things going next door?
Things are going really good. Things are going very, very busy. We're having very, very high volume next door, if you haven't noticed. So we are very much looking forward to expanding and having a larger building and all those things, which are still very much in progress. So not much to report as far as, what our expansion looks like. It's just other than to say it is in progress. Also, in regards to expansion, we are planning to open our youth intensive outpatient program, which will run Monday through Thursday, 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. For adolescents over the age of 12. So we are currently in the hiring phase for that, and that's going to run out of our Raytown building as well, because the more the merrier. So we were hoping to launch that in July, but it's taking a little bit longer. So here in the coming months, that program will launch. And there's not a lot of these in the region, so we're pretty excited to be able to open one here in Raytown. So that's kind of the biggest update specific to Raytown. I will say for a regional thing, right now we're also going into Jackson County Detention Center. So I met with them yesterday. I'm going to be sending a team in there to work Monday through Friday with competency restoration as well. So that is also in progress.
Very good. Thank you for all you do over there. You are very busy. We can tell. So sometimes you even put a little fire over there so everybody can see you. Right?
Oh, did you? Oh, yes. We had a very large fire the other day.
Yeah.
So we were very grateful for, I think it was KCFD that came out and they put out we had a car fire that burnt down to a crisp. So it was an eventful evening. And we were grateful for all the water that we had available to us.
Hey, we are, yeah. Well, that said, let's try to stay cool today, right, Mayor? Amen. We got a lot going on. Appreciate everybody. Like I said, we started thinking about the next legislative session again, and I'm sure the city will have services we could all get behind and make our Raytown better. So thank everybody for coming, and we'll get out a little early. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have anything to add? No. There we go.
Once she gets to talking, you don't want to. We gotta get out of here, you know. So we
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming this morning.
Have a safe weekend.
All righty.